In a galaxy far, far away, two young gentlemen drift upon the stars as they explore the curiosities of the universe. I'm Morgan Freeman.
From my space helmet.
I am God. Have I talked about on here like how Morgan Freeman always only plays God or the president in movies?
I don't know that
Like
we have,
for the
but
most part, like I
have
swear
noticed that
every
to some
every time
extent.
you turn around, bro, like if you hear Morgan Freeman's voice, he is the voice of God or he is the president. There was one movie I was watching and he was the vice president. And I'm like, oh, see, even he's the vice president in this movie. And then something happened to the president and he became the president. And I was like, wow.
Which is probably the only reason why he was vice president.
Right,
They
exactly.
knew what was gonna
so that
happen.
he could become the
Yeah.
president in the movie. And I was like, this is crazy. This man, Morgan Freeman, always finds a way to become the president in the movie.
That's so funny.
But aside from that short story there about my Morgan Freeman theory, he only accepts roles where he's the president or God.
He plays himself, God.
But yeah, you're listening to the High Expectations podcast where you can expect major hiations along the way. We were going to have a guest today, but unfortunately some things happened. Hopefully they're going to come on next week. And going forward, we actually should have, barring any unforeseen circumstances, a lot of episodes coming out with guests, a lot of cool people about to come on the show. We're really excited about that. But yeah, today we were like, all right, F it. We're already here. Let's record something. So you got me and Donnie on a solo dolo right now. Donnie,
Mr. Solo Dolo, what's up?
did you listen to the new Kid Cudi album?
No, I did not.
Mr. Solo
How
Dolo
new
3.
is it still?
Like
new?
a month.
Okay.
2 months.
I feel like I remember it coming
month
out,
and a
but
half.
I have not been on my
I love
new
that
music
shit.
lately.
Yeah, I started something on my Instagram where it's like I'm just gonna songs that are just my vibe. I'm just gonna put them on this little, like, you know how Instagram has the like stories that stay on your page. I don't know what those are called. Memories, maybe.
The highlights.
Highlights, yeah, highlights.
I have highlights on mine. Yeah,
yeah,
I like those. Those are cool.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been using those as well as I should have.
Yeah, they're just like you said. Yeah, they're just permanent stories.
Yeah, Instagram. I feel like I use Instagram probably the most to post on. I feel like I go to Twitter for information.
I cannot.
Not like as like sound information.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Let me rephrase.
Let me rephrase.
I was gonna say I couldn't even say that just because even this morning my last Instagram post was from like December 28th, 29th.
Damn.
So like I'm definitely on Twitter every day tweeting. So like I can't say I use Instagram more, but I think I like Instagram more.
I think I don't.
More like personal, I guess.
I think I don't tweet as much from my account because I think I tweet from the High Expectations account. And so then I'm just like, by the time I do all that, I have no energy to even fucking tweet for myself. I mean, catch me on Instagram though. I'm popping.
Yeah, no, I was like on and off with Twitter, and like even until this past year, like 2020, especially when I started like podcasting and really trying to like rebrand myself, like I really didn't use social media religiously. Like I never was like, oh, I have to go on social media in the morning, make sure I go on in the day, make sure I go on at night, like make sure I interact, make sure I advertise, make sure I whatever, like. Yeah, no, so like even up until like this year.
It's crazy how that's become a legitimate skill, is like being good at the internet, being good at social media, because digital marketing, all types of stuff like that. Like literally being a influencer or a brand ambassador is now a legitimate career, and like having a certain amount of followers, and maybe not necessarily followers, but people who actually interact with your, like, if you show like such and such amount of people will view your video, like all of a sudden, this is a whole new line of revenue, a whole new line of business. And I think I was thinking about this the other day, right? So if like everybody, so you got to think about it. All the kids that are like in elementary and middle school right now, right? They see all these influencers, all these people who got famous off of Vine and TikTok, and right. And like back in the day, we watched America's Funniest Home Videos, and then people try to make some stupid ass video, but it was never as funny if it was like, genuine.
Yeah, I grew up making some YouTube videos.
Right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I was on YouTube for sure trying to do something. But so there, I just see that becoming something that a lot more kids in general are going to want to start trying to do, people in general, right? So what made me curious is, are we going to run into a point in time where certain jobs just don't have people that want to do it? Like are certain jobs like going to become like, you're not going to be able to find like, this is a bad example. This is literally the only thing that's in my head right now. Like a plumber in a small town in like Montana or something, you know what I mean? Or like You know,
I think that, I mean, just to go off the plumber example,
there will always be plumbers. That's why I said it was a
this one will be interesting.
bad example.
Because it might not necessarily like further my point as much, but like, I think that there will always be plumbers somewhere in the world. So like, even if there's not, like you said, in a small town, a plumber in that town, I feel like there would have to be a plumber somewhere in the world willing to relocate to take the job opportunity, because a lot of people say like, oh, you have to get your foot in the door and then you can create your own opportunity. So I feel like you said, the plumber for that one is especially like a weird example.
Yeah,
but
the
like,
plumbers, I couldn't think of a better, like literally I was like, right away my in my head popped up plumber, and I'm like, that's a terrible example, and then nothing else would come into my head. It was like in my head was just sitting the word plumber.
Yeah. I mean, I think either, I mean, that's interesting. I couldn't think of a specific example that a job became obsolete because
maybe,
people
but like,
what about choose to do it?
You're right, because somebody
like normally like it gets taken over, or like you need less people, or you get more efficient at it.
Like, I don't know. For example, like semi truck driving will probably be gone
when it's fully automatic.
Right.
Yeah.
So then what are all those people going to do? So if now you have, I guess that would fill the gap though, because then you have job loss and job growth. So I guess that's probably how it all maintains and why we haven't ran into this issue yet.
Yeah, like I said, it's just like that one's
a high thought.
Yeah, no, that one is like another good example. But like I said, that one also is like technology is replacing it. I don't know one like a specific example that people
like they just wouldn't want to go do. Like what's something like people
there's already so many jobs out there.
people don't want to work at fast food restaurants, you know what I mean? So people no longer work that, but I guess then you have.
But until our unemployment is zero, while there's people that have to accept any job, I feel like some people there is no choice. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people, if you have like government benefits or whatever, you can choose those over going to work a minimum wage job. But it's some extent, if it's work at McDonald's or have zero job and zero income,
yeah,
you almost have to choose that. So I think there are plenty of jobs out there that people don't want to do, but they have to be done. I don't know.
It's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that because I was like,
I mean, I don't
know. It's definitely like becoming an influencer, quote unquote, is definitely a rising occupation. I think it's also I think a lot of people want to be famous. In my opinion, maybe not. Maybe some people don't really care. I mean, I would personally rather be wealthy than famous.
I was about to say, I don't really want to be famous at all.
Yeah, because then you can't mind your own business.
Yeah.
I think to a certain degree, once you have so much money, you are going to be famous no matter what.
I think there's also a huge difference, and
because Jeff Bezos doesn't sing to my knowledge, but everybody knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think there's a huge difference between being famous and being recognized.
That's true.
Like, I kind of just thought about this now, and I don't know the huge difference, but like I would say like celebrities like are idolized in you follow their every single move and you just want to be like them. And like, to me, that's like fame and like wanting to be exactly like that person. But like a CEO, like, I mean, granted, a lot of people do want to be like Elon Musk or someone like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or whatever. Like maybe they're not like super famous necessarily, but like they're recognized everywhere they go. Like people aren't like fangirling when they see them in public, but like everyone knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not like being followed by paparazzi and all that, I guess would be like the main difference.
Yeah,
like,
I think being like the biggest celebrity in the world, like that type level of like celebrity would just be annoying at some point.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that.
Like there's literally people outside your house right when you walk out. Yeah. Everybody knows where you live. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like you leave your window accidentally like cracked open, like there could be someone taking pictures of you inside your house doing some goofy shit or whatever they're trying to do. Like people don't have boundaries all the time. Like
right. But the reason I even brought that up is because I think so just going off the statement, a lot of people would like to be famous or wealthy, you know what I mean? At least they want to move up in the social hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
One way or the other. I think that's a genuine road to get there, you know what I mean? Especially now where everybody's putting stuff out on the internet. Everybody's putting up videos. Everybody's putting up pictures. Everybody's tweeting. Everybody's doing this, you know what I mean? It's such a competitive space, but at the same time, it's almost like you have to know how to do it to come up in that space.
Yeah, and I think also the interesting part about that is people don't choose to be an influencer and then go gain a following.
Yeah.
They have the following and they kind of they already have like some value that they're providing that people already follow them for, and then they become an influencer. So like the sad reality is like not everybody can be an influencer if you don't have that impact on people, if people don't look to you for guidance, or if people don't trust what you say all the time, or if you're constantly promoting things that don't end up being true, or whatever the case may be, if people don't look to you for certain guidance, like they probably aren't going to look to you to buy a product and trust your word on that type of thing either. So it's not built for everyone. So I don't know where I was going with that or why that got brought up.
That's that's life in general. It's not built for everyone to succeed for sure in any aspect. So I guess that makes sense. Not everybody can be an influencer. So we're gonna still have plumbers. Moral of that story.
Yeah. And like that's not knocking plumbers. Like plumbers do jobs that I have no idea what to do. Like,
and they make good money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, they definitely make a good living. And like, yeah, to me, especially when it comes like I've noticed this a lot about sports when people knock like, oh, I don't like this sport, it's dumb, it's blah blah, it's boring. It's like if you're not capable of doing that skill that someone else has, like you have to admit that's at least impressive to some extent. Like if they're capable of doing something that you can't, like that's pretty impressive, I would say.
Bro, I see those things on Snapchat all the time about like the lumberjacks. I know other people see that lumberjack shit where they're fucking climbing up they're fucking axe in the trees, chopping the trees, and then they stick the axe in, climb up, boom, another plank, boom, climb up. That shit is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like people may not find it interesting, but like it's crazy. Like I find like skills just absolutely beautiful. You know what I mean? Because I feel like each human has a specific like skill or skills. Like I'm a big Naruto fan, right? And I know you don't watch Naruto, but they all have like abilities, right?
Yeah.
Like and like different aspects to them. So like I feel like each person has that as well. You know what I mean? You have like an ability almost like something that you're really good at, and then they're some people have two things they're really good at or three things, but like normal people, we're all just like, okay, I think I have like one thing I'm good at, let me stick to that. I don't know, I kind of got off on a tangent and forgot where I was even going with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me it's tough because I am the type of person that it's just like, yeah, I know like maybe I am like super good at one thing, but if I know I'm not good at other things and I'm okay to admit that and you're okay to learn and work on it, I feel like I just can constantly get better at everything. And like, don't get me wrong, some things come more naturally than others. Some things you have to literally put in hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And then you're like, oh, I finally barely get it. And like some stuff, like you'll read a book for an hour and you're like, I'm a pro at this. Like I understand this completely. Like everything makes sense. And yeah, it's just,
let me ask you this question. All right. Do you think even the highest level of skills can be obtained through hours and hours and hours of practice? Like, for example, like the way like Beethoven was able to play the piano. Do you think anybody could achieve that through hours and hours and hours of practice if they devoted themselves? Or do you think there's some part of that that's just talent, like in you?
A very simple answer, I would say yes. I think people can. To some extent, you have to admit there is like a physical aspect to it. Like with athletes, like if your muscles aren't able to grow as big as someone else's, or you're not as tall as someone else, like that has nothing to do with how hard you try or how much effort you put in. If you're 5'4", you're probably not going to the NBA no matter how hard you try. Granted, it's possible, don't get me wrong, but like the odds are literally against you only because of physical aspects.
You heard it here first. This is why I'm not in the NBA.
Yeah, that's the only reason why we're not. But yeah, but like something like playing the piano, like I think it could, like I said, come natural to someone where like once they learn the notes, they're like, oh, I don't have to look at the music anymore. I just play and blah, blah, blah. So, but like, I don't know how you could say like someone wouldn't be able to achieve that if they just committed their lives and were just devoted to saying, I'm going to be the next Beethoven and just played the piano all day, every day, and just constantly learned and grew and got better. Like,
and even if somebody came to that conclusion, isn't that almost like destiny because they just decided someday to be like, I'm going to be like Beethoven?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
whoa.
That's the weird part is like, you can always take it a step further. I say this all the time. It's just like, you could say something. What would you just say? What was the point of
that? It's almost like fate.
It's fate,
like destiny.
It's like what is fate and what is destiny? Like if I choose something, is that my fate or did I choose it? Like you can always counteract it and just it's a never ending argument.
And we'll just never know.
Yeah.
That's why I think the universe is infinite. Like I think I not the universe necessarily. I think time is infinite. And I think this is gonna sound super outlandish, and I have no scientific knowledge, so there's no basis behind this theory. But I would assume that in a world where time travel was theoretically possible, right, or a multiverse or whatever, you have to assume if time travel is possible, there's obviously different dimensions and multiverse and all this, that, and the third. But I believe that time is like a spectrum, and space lives inside of time, right? And from the point where the universe was created, boom, to the point where the universe eventually collapses itself into each other, boom. And it's an infinite spectrum where space is locked in and things happen. And then you have the parallel where it's like now there's these characters in this space on this one little particle in this space, and their decisions actually create the new time around them, but they will always and forever create the ending that creates the beginning.
So essentially, if I follow this completely correctly, just in a very like one sentence explanation, would you say that essentially the Big Bang happens, our whole universe exists, all the world exists, it ends, the Big Bang technically restarts.
Our world ends with the Big Bang and it begins the new world, but it's the same world.
So when people look at it linear, they say there was a Big Bang. You think that's the beginning and the end of just a cycle?
Yeah. So imagine it almost like on a clock. If the Big Bang is at 12, then our whole time spectrum is just there, and it goes and then it blows up into itself and blows up, and it's just
I could see that.
You know what I mean? Like
I think like I don't know if you would consider that a time loop or whatever. Like, is that what it's called? A time loop?
Maybe, I don't know.
I forget exactly what the term is.
I like the term spectrum.
Normally, if it's called a time loop, normally it's a time loop within that smaller spectrum. So like it would be, oh, I'm stuck in one day. Yeah. Like my day ends and then that same day starts over. My day ends, that same day starts over. But I can see it being on a much larger scale.
I think the reason that can happen is because we live in this time spectrum and space is inside of it. So there's automatically time. Like I think of it literally like a donut. Like there's time on the outside and space on the like, not like in the middle, like, but kind of in the middle, you know what I mean? So it mixes together, you know, and that's what creates all these like different things that are happening. And obviously the universe can expand and contort and probably duplicate or whatever the fuck it needs to do. Whoever knows, you know what I mean? But I just think like it would make the most logical sense that if we don't know how the universe began, so to speak, that it obviously began from a force that nobody has any knowledge of. So in the only logical conclusion that I could come to is the longer that we're in that, minds are being put to the test in this spectrum of time and like what we call life, you know what I mean? The further we would advance in knowing, to the point where eventually we know and probably do something to try to like, I don't know, recreate it, and then we just start it all over again without even knowing. And this has been happening forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much of a tangent of my own, but like I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I don't know how else to contribute, but I think you could be right. I definitely could see that as a possibility. Because like I said, I am a fan of the time loop. I just never thought of it on like
a huge
grand scheme scale.
I mean, it's like the same way people think like eventually if we're in a simulation, right? So eventually we're going to create the technology that puts us in a simulation, and we've already been in a simulation. They're just re-simulating it.
That would be crazy. Like think about if it really like is like that. And it's like, if there is an outside being that can't see all of this and could be a spectator to all of this, if they really, every time they're like, wow, since the Big Bang, it's been 10,000 years. The 9 other times before this, they were more advanced and more progressed. Like, I wonder if like, if it really was true, how we would compare to the other timelines. Like, are we advanced as we should?
Well, we did better than the dinosaurs, that's for sure. Or are the dinosaurs part of our timeline?
That's what I'm saying. Is the dinosaurs?
They would be, in this theory, the dinosaurs would be part of our timeline, because that's the history that we know as far back as we can know.
But what I think, see, that's why I'm confused now, is like what you were saying is I think the dinosaurs could be the start of every time loop.
I think they are.
Okay, yeah. So
I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think they are. They would have to be, in order for this theory to be correct, because that's history that we know. Me and you know that they found dinosaurs were on this earth.
Like there would have to be
a meteor.
Yeah. But sorry, I was gonna say there has to be a time loop. Then I guess where like dinosaurs never went extinct, and it could be a possibility that they never went extinct.
But here's the thing: I think it happens. I think ultimately it happens the exact way that it's supposed to. Almost, like I think almost maybe there is a being. I mean, I believe in God, and this all you start to really like weigh what God is when you really start getting into like deep universal theory. You know what I mean? Like how the fuck did this happen? Because it's easy to say like God just like in the fucking universe popped out.
Dude,
like,
time out. So time out. Since I said I can always take it a step further, I'm fucking with myself now. But what if there's a higher being to these higher beings? So what if there is a higher being than the higher being we know of? Because there's one higher being to each time loop. Like we have a higher being in our time loop, but that was different than the one before that and the one before that and the one before that.
And they're just gambling on us.
But there was, well, that could be another thing. But even above that, there was one higher being above all that. Like, I don't know.
No, it's crazy because there could be, like, we literally know so little when you think about it. There could literally be a social hierarchy of higher godlike beings that sit there and just like they're just they watch over these time loops and like they grow it as if I was growing my own bonsai tree. They grow it like a fucking petri dish.
Yeah.
But it's so like to them it's nothing, but to us it's literally trillions of years. You know what I mean? However long society can last. Well, I guess but see, that's the thing too. If we always get to the point where we try to harness the energy or we try to recreate the Big Bang, because that's where my theory loses ground, right? Because how do we eventually create the Big Bang again into itself?
I mean, realistically, we don't have to create it if it is a higher being. Like if the universe ended as we know it, like tomorrow, you sound like you had an epiphany, but
I did.
Let's say just like tomorrow, technically, if tomorrow a Big Bang happened, the world would end as we know it.
Right.
And then it would just be a new time loop with no one like.
Well, with just probably like planets at that point, because it probably begins with planets forming, and then the dinosaurs, and then it gets to us. Okay, here's what I think happens. So eventually we get so smart that we realize how to contact these higher beings that are in charge of our time loop, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
They don't fucking like that.
Probably not.
Boom, Big Bang, right off of it.
So every
You're too smart. You're too smart.
Boom. Every end is when we figure it out.
Because then, we threaten their livelihood.
And they want the beginning of when it was dinosaurs and no English and no human interaction and no all that. Maybe.
I don't know. I really don't. This is so interesting, bro. Is
there like professionals that legit they study this like type of thing? Like is there
just like theory? No, I think it's like I'm sure there are people that study like
astronomical theory and stuff like that, but
I think they run off like base theories like string theory and like I think it's some particle theory. I don't know. I think there's like 2 or 3 main theories that they think, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's mainly scientists essentially that
Yeah. I don't think there's just like, like if I was in charge, shit, we're figuring that shit out. I promise you. Like we're all of our resources and money are going to that. I'm telling everybody, like, this is why I wish that all of the countries in the world, we could all just get along, because then we wouldn't have to spend all this money on military and we could literally figure out how the universe was created. Like, I don't understand what's going through these evil ass motherfuckers' brains. Like, bro, you don't need to be a dictator. You don't need to control everybody. Let's just use all the money that we have to like make everything good for all of us and figure out what's going on.
I mean, the crazy part about all of that is, first of all, so many people are, even if they're not egotistical or selfish or whatever, most people are just so focused in the now and what affects us right now and going on in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And people also get selfish about their certain countries or their whatever people that represent them the best. Like Jews love to support Jews and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know where I was going with that again. But
no, it's just like, it's frustrating, bro. Cause it's just like, there's such a clear answer in front of like I like to break it down like this, and but everybody doesn't think like this, right?
Yeah.
If we were a smart species, right? We're the dominant species on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, if you fuck around with a shark, he's gonna eat you. Like at that point, he's dominant.
But we can kill all the sharks. But
we can go in water and land. He can't even come on land. So what now? You know what I mean? But we're the dominant species of Earth. So how embarrassing is it that we don't even realize that we're all on a fucking planet that's floating in a galaxy of other planets that's just a small galaxy inside of a massive universe filled with literally trillions of those galaxies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and we want to sit here and fight each other and try to blow up our fucking Earth.
I mean, but like I said, most people, like, if they saw all that, they would understand it. Like they don't choose to see all that. Like they're so, like I said, and a lot of it is like you choose, like, you only see what you choose to see. Like, it's not like I know about outer space because I was forced to learn it and people just constantly, like, I've found interest in it and I've actively searched and found information about it. So like,
Yeah.
I think there is just so much information, so many different ideas and topics out there that, especially if you're egotistical or power hungry or whatever, you really choose to not see a lot of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And like, even now, like when I first started looking for the quote unquote bigger picture and trying to like figure everything out, like it's been years now of like just theories and guessing and asking questions and having conversations. And like, some people aren't okay with not having finite answers. Like,
that's
because
true.
the sad reality is like, we're probably never going to have a real, just like specific finite answer and be like,
No,
yep, this is
I
it.
promise you I'm going to find out.
I hope so. I hope so. Because
I will not leave.
You're gonna tell me,
bro,
but
I
like,
will not leave this earth unless I find out like at least a grip of information that like is helpful. Like, cause here's what I think is gonna happen. I think we're gonna figure out how the Big Bang happens, and then I think it's gonna be a whole.
Have explained how it happens.
They know like how it happens, but like where did it come from? They don't really know like all that. You know what I mean? Like,
I haven't read enough. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot that they do
I guess
know
they
that
do
they
know,
claim they know.
but,
I
like,
don't know, but
what? So where did the Big Bang?
but they
like,
could be wrong.
But the
first
thing
of
is,
all.
they're saying like the Big Bang just happened and then it expand. Where did that come from? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you explain space of nothingness and then all of a sudden just a Big Bang? They can't. There's no way they can explain that. We'd know how the universe was created. That'd be all over. I'd for
yeah.
sure.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I'm just
You know
saying,
what I
I don't
mean?
know what they say about that in general. Like,
Yeah, they can trace it back. The last time I researched it, they can trace it back literally to like a millisecond right as it's exploding, but they can't go to before it's exploding. You know what I mean? They don't know.
Yeah.
Because they can test the particles like as far back as they can, but before there was particles, they don't know.
But the other part that sucks is, what if we are wrong and this literally was a one of one event in our history of histories, of lifetimes, of timelines, of the bigger picture, the biggest picture possible? What if this is literally just a one of one event? Like, I feel like we have to at least admit that that's a possibility, and we might not be able to find the answers because no one was there when it happened, and it might not ever happen again.
That is a possibility.
Which sucks, but
at least then we'd have an answer. But even then, do you still have an answer? Because how do you, like, there's always going to be people that question that. So, like,
I wouldn't say that that's an answer, but
that's what I'm saying.
Proves
like,
that, like, if no one can actually, like, get there and it was a one of one and there's nothing to, like, unless you can get to that point, there's nothing that can, like, back why what you're saying is true, because there's no precedent. There's no, like, comparable event to it. And maybe they find a way to say, well, this has never happened before, but based on this, and this is now what we think happened. For sure, they can change that.
Yeah.
I just realistically think that it could just be like a one of one event that, like, how the fuck are we supposed to know? Like, how do we know?
Now all I see in my head is like these big godlike beings standing in a circle with like these rings that are glowing with like time and space, you know, and they're just watching us in there. Like, now I'm just like so far gone that it's like this could all, like, literally, I think the Big Bang is a one-on-one thing, but I think it could be a one-of-one thing to everybody who thinks that it is a one-of-one thing.
Especially,
you know what I mean?
if we, like I said, if we take the time loops and say we also still confidently believe in that, it could be a one of one, 10 different timelines.
Exactly. Yeah, man,
but,
we'll
like,
never know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that's the only problem, is like there's so much of it that unless we progress insanely amount in our lifetimes, which we obviously slowly are, but like as far as like those types of theories, I don't think we've progressed that much in our lifetimes.
I need to get a job at like somewhere where I'm learning some shit. Like either NASA or Oculus. I need to be in the fucking video.
SpaceX, fuck it.
We need, whoa, wow. See, you know how much like knowledge you have to work for them? Like, hella just, the rocket went down, Jake.
Fuck, man, I don't know.
Sorry, Jake. You were off your post for 10 minutes yesterday. Sorry, Elon. I was just smoking a little something, trying to take the nerves off before the launch, bro.
Yeah, too much stress. Jesus.
Stupid. Hey, well, that was a good discussion, honestly.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
Very mind opening, I guess should say. We have merch out now, so you can buy that on our website, expectations.com. It's up there. It's dope. Yeah, we're going to be doing something eventually where it's going to be paired with merch and donating. But for now, we don't have that set up. We're going to probably wait till we get a few more of you guys that are following us and listening to us. The response on YouTube has been great, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, actually, I'll get to that in a second. The response on YouTube has been really great. Our video with Juliana just hit like 50 views, so that's awesome. That's definitely a new milestone for us. And they're all the videos we have up right now are getting good views. So I'm really happy about that. Thank you guys. Keep, sharing it for us and
while we're on
liking the
that
videos.
subject, what types of guests do you guys want us to reach out
Yeah.
and get on the show? Like, do you want just marijuana industry? Do you want just stoners? Do you want music, entertainment, actors, entrepreneurs? Do you want anybody and everybody?
Do you want us to break it into segments where we have, finance people, music people, marijuana specifically? Like, as we get more content, we'll definitely like make it easier for you to find the content that you want. But let us know specifically what you guys want to hear. If you live in Vegas and you know somebody cool who wants to come on, or you yourself do something cool, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
YouTube channel.
Yes. I'm gonna be starting my I'm taking $100 and I'm gonna turn it into $100,000 by the end of this year. He says very confidently. I'm gonna be doing weekly updates on Under the High Expectations YouTube, but it's gonna be separate, basically from our podcast videos. It'll just be probably short, like 5-10 minute videos of me just recapping the week of what I'm trading, just to show you guys the progress of that. And then my Patreon will go up next week. If you want to see my main portfolio and the investments I do in there. But one thing I wanted to bring up, we had somebody give us a 1 out of 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts.
We got a hater.
Yo, come forward. Like,
at least let us know like what we got to do to get a 5-star.
Like a 2 would have been, I would have been like, oh, okay, so at least it's just constructive. Like a 1, it's almost just like.
No, and I'm cool with the 1.
I'm not.
If there was a comment or if there was a, hey, this is why I gave you a 1.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to do to get a 5. Because I have no problem admitting where we're wrong and where we need to better ourselves. But if you're going to hide behind the keyboard, you little warrior, at least let us know what we can improve on.
Right. Because now you brought our shit down to 4.5. And it's really, it's not as good for my eyes to see 4.5.
We're back on the grind to 5.
Yeah. The road to 5. See, soon we'll get our video editing down. So I'll go like that and it'll be like road to 5. Right there, but it's not gonna say that this time for sure.
Or like the SpongeBob imagination.
Yeah. Everybody seeing it is like, they're like, where's the road to 5? No, it's right there. You can see it.
Use your imagination. Come on, guys.
All right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcasts on all the streaming platforms. If you really love us, that would be great. Leave comments on our podcast. Leave comments on our YouTube. Blow our shit up. We're trying to go crazy in Vegas this year. We are gonna go crazy in Vegas this year. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out for you guys. Donnie, you have anything else?
Nope, that sounds about it.
All right, close your eyes, imagine you're on a boat, and have a nice day.